everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and once again, Google is colluding with the mainstream media to push a certain establishment narrative and stifle anyone by any means necessary, including monetary terrorism, and terrorism, of course, being defined as spreading ideology via fear. Well, if you scare people out of saying things because they will lose money, then that would be monetary terrorism of some form or another. We're going to get into some interesting news regarding Zero Hedge, big news sites like Zero Hedge and the Federalist, as Google cracks down on them. But first, make sure to hit that like button, check the links below, share this on social media to get around the shadow banning, and most importantly, we will be leaving YouTube soon. We have no choice. So join us on BitChute and Flote.app, linked below, and join our new newsletter at www.iamband.com so we can still get a hold of you with our latest information if YouTube just decides to delete our channel at any moment. They are taking down a lot of our videos. We will be going into that a bit later. But anyway, first, let's get into this news. As this article from NBC News says, Google bans 2 websites from its ad platform over protest articles. The 2 sites, Zero Hedge and the Federalist, will no longer be able to generate revenue from any advertisements served by Google Ads. And it should be disclosed here that NBC was a big reason for this, and I'll get into that in a moment. But as it says here, Google has banned 2 far-right websites from its advertising platform after research revealed the tech giant was profiting from articles pushing unsubstantiated claims about the Black Lives Matter protests. Well, it's a very broad issue, the Black Lives Matter protests, so they're doing a lot of good things and they're doing a lot of bad things. It depends on the individuals, as always, and obviously the backing and all that kind of stuff. But look, there's nothing wrong with Google deciding they don't want to promote something or whatever. They're a private company, quote unquote, even though they get insane amounts of money from the government, which makes them quasi-private. But nonetheless, I have nothing against them necessarily doing that. It's the actual, it's who's doing it, who's being involved, who's coordinating with them, and what they're trying to achieve out of this. And that is, they're already a monopoly on information, and they are trying to control the minds of the masses. And we'll get into that further in a moment. But as it says, the 2 sites, Zero Hedge and the Federalist, will no longer be able to generate revenue from any advertisements served by Google Ads. A Google spokesperson said in an email that it took action after determining the websites violated its policies on content related to race. And I quote, "We have strict publisher policies that govern the content ads can run on and explicitly prohibit derogatory content that promotes hatred, intolerance, violence, or discrimination based on race from monetizing," the spokesperson said. "When a page or site violates our policies, we take action. In this case, we've removed both sides' ability to monetize with Google." Well, they'll give their money to someone else and make money off of someone else, and hopefully they create a new movement in that direction. But as it continues here, it says, after publication of this story, Google added that it takes into account all of the content on a website, including comments, to determine if a policy violation has occurred, which is where the policy violations occurred. Google notified Zero Hedge of the policy violations last week and banned the website from its ad platform. Google notified the Federalist on Tuesday of policy violations. It now has 3 days to remove the violations before the ban goes into effect. Google's ban of the websites come after the company was notified of research conducted by the Center for Countering Digital Hate, a British nonprofit that combats online hate and misinformation. They found that 10 US-based websites have published what they say are racist articles about the protests and projected that the websites would make millions of dollars through Google Ads. Google blocked the Federalist from its advertising platform after the NBC News verification unit, again, I repeat, after the NBC News verification unit brought the project to its attention. Zero Hedge had already been demonetized prior to NBC News' inquiry. Google said Zero Hedge and the Federalist did not respond to requests for comment. Imran Ahmed, CEO of the Center for Countering Digital Hate, said it found advertisements for many companies that had otherwise made public statements supporting Black Lives Matter and the recent protests running on the website. Well, it's very, very one-sided, obviously. Zero Hedge has, I don't agree with everything on the site, but they've been a great, kind of almost an aggregate for all these different stories that you won't find elsewhere, and not everything they ever say is right, but they just got vindicated with Twitter apologizing for taking them down for writing about the Wuhan lab and the stolen COVID samples, which came out to be largely true. And of course, the Federalist is known for saying a lot of things that in some cases would be what one would consider pro-Trump and whatever, but they have the right to say it. What about the mainstream media? And we're going to get into how this affects all of us more in a moment, but the mainstream media for years has gotten full support, in some cases grants, but full support, while promoting lies that led to millions of deaths in the Middle East, wars, famines, economic crises. They've been complicit in this for years. They've worked with the CIA for years. Operation Mockingbird is just one part of it. Many of the big head honchos at a lot of these major mainstream media networks have later admitted that they worked with the CIA. So, I mean, look, they have literally colluded with governments that would later lead to millions of people dying, like the Iraq War. But that's pretty racist, by the way. But you know, the Federalist says some pro-Trump stuff, whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. People should have access to information and not have to be nannied and figure it out for themselves. Zero Hedge is neither pro-Trump or anti-Trump. They toe both sides with independent articles aggregated from all over the place, as well as their own. And they really, they've done a lot of super anti-police stuff, as well as stuff that says, look, where's this funding coming from for these Black Lives Matter movements? And it's all legitimate. These are all questions. If there's a question that shouldn't be asked, it's no longer a question. Every question should be asked, ever, regardless of who it might offend. Questions are how you find answers. It goes without saying. This is very simple, very basic. So with the issue of racism, some people at certain organizations that have a benefit from calling everything they don't like racist, they make money off of certain organizations or whatever it might be, calling everything racist is a great way to stifle your enemy. It's like calling anyone a Nazi, calling anyone a communist. It goes on both sides, but more so it's the left that tends to do it to the right, though it's all on a collectivist spectrum of nonsense at the end of the day, identity politics and what have you. But I mean, really, this issue of race, they're really trying to push the race issue on at the same time as people are going crazy after the government. The government lied to them and forced them in their house for months. And everyone's broke, and there's massive global depression happening, which Zero Hedge has called out for a very long time and been proven right in saying. It's ridiculous. They're trying to shift it into a racial issue, and that divides us against each other instead of focusing on the real enemies, the ones that are creating this problem in the first place. And why are the left that usually hate big business and big monopolies, they suddenly love Bill Gates, who's made billions of dollars off of this scam. They suddenly love Google because they're stifling anyone that doesn't agree with them. I mean, that's fascism to a certain extent. I mean, that's at least cultural fascism to a certain extent. Now, again, Google can do whatever they want, and they've been able to, however, gain a massive monopoly via government contracts and CIA contracts and grants, etc., that prop them up against any competition. It's really about time that we go to other competition. But I do want to also bring up on the screen, of course, Google owns YouTube, and YouTube's days are numbered, and we are leaving YouTube very shortly, and I want to show you just what I've been dealing with lately. As this article, or this this email from YouTube recently said, World Alternative Media, your content violated YouTube's community guidelines and has been removed. We reported on a nonsense mainstream media story that said George Floyd had coronavirus around the time when he died, and I just went like, seriously? And we did a short video on it. Deleted for going against bullying, cyberbullying, and hate. And I sent it in for review, and within less than 20 seconds of sending it in for manual review, they claimed they watched a whole 13-minute video, and they confirmed with their team that it wasn't appropriate, and they kept it down. Yeah, that's 100% a lie right there, and that's obvious if it's like a 20-second difference. They didn't watch a 13-minute video. I got this one a little while ago. Your video has been removed from YouTube. We just talked about the economic system and the history of inflation live on YouTube. They deleted the video saying that it was inappropriate content. When I sent it in for review, 5 days later they got back to me and said, no, it is inappropriate content. Why? I never swore in it or anything. And then, of course, I had this happen recently. Your channel is no longer eligible to monetize. And they show me how to learn how to reapply. I'm not reapplying because it's pointless, because they're trying to dictate what I say. If you say things the way we say, then we can bring you back up. Their reasoning was because I was saying things against the World Health Organization. I was countering points by the World Health Organization, which they said was inappropriate content and hate speech. Really? This United Nations body funded by massive billionaires that Tedros heads, and he was one of the heads of the Ethiopian Communist Party. Really? Seriously? It's ridiculous. The days are numbered here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd suggest you watch it on BitChute and go to flote.app and go to library, because this is ridiculous. It's absolutely pointless to be on YouTube anymore. It's an insult to our own intelligence. And I know a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to go somewhere else. Well, then you're going to be stuck with just mainstream media, because as you saw there, the mainstream media literally was colluding with Google to take down this stuff. As you probably noticed, first of all, they cut our channel down, our viewership down 90% after we interviewed David Icke last year. Overnight, it just fell 90% in viewership. We lost almost everything. We had been building this channel for years. We've always been very, very hardcore about being factual in what we're saying. They cut us down. They hit us from the side panel where 72% of all views come from, so you can't see us most of the time in the suggested videos. Sometimes on our own videos you can see it, but usually it's Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or CBC News or state-run media on the side of the screen after our videos. And then, you know, they demonetize us. They're deleting our videos for no reason. It's obviously time that we leave. I mean, this is ridiculous. What's the point of us being on this website anymore? Because very soon all we're going to see is Fox News, CNN, MSNBC on YouTube. And people, remember, they always naturally decentralize. They decentralize away from the William Randolph Hearst media newspaper magnates, like himself and the major monopoly that he had on newspapers, to radio, from radio to television, from television to YouTube, now YouTube to somewhere else, and we need to go somewhere else because this is ridiculous. Again, companies can do whatever they want, but the demand of the public is another thing, and we should call out the stupid censoring, nonsense, shadow banning crap that they're doing and move somewhere else. Because if we don't soon enough, you know, all the faces of independent media, if you're still able to see this right now, will all just disappear, and all you'll have left is mainstream media, and then we have a true world of zombies. We've already seen a lot of that with the coronavirus nonsense. They really shadow banned a lot of stuff right before coronavirus, but people still didn't buy it in large numbers, thankfully. But once we're completely gone, God forbid what'll happen. People will be led like complete slaves and right to the slaughter. So, I don't know. Zero Hedge, the Federalist, will likely get monetization with another platform, another ad agency, because the advertisers don't care. They don't mind advertising on these videos. It's the website itself utilizing that as a reason. Like, they took away, people voluntarily gave us super chats in our videos. They can't anymore. That has nothing to do with advertising. But they said it was not advertiser friendly. Then YouTube would put their own ads on the videos, get a bunch of money for themselves out of it, and then ban us from getting super chats. And now we're not able to get voluntary donations from our viewers through YouTube. That's why I always say GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. Check those links below. Seriously, guys, we need you guys now more than ever. But, I mean, it's just hypocrisy. It has nothing to do with advertising. That's just one of their reasons. It's a reason they use. It's a convenient reason they use in order to, you know, basically suffocate our message. And that is a message of freedom. That is a message of truth. That is a message of always keeping an open mind and being skeptical of everything you hear, especially when it comes from those in power. There's always a reason, cui bono, who benefits. Anyway, we'll continue to follow the story as it develops. I really appreciate everyone joining us today. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. We really can't do it without you. We've been so insanely shadow banned, about 90% at this point, and 95% demonetized. As Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, comes in and says that she is shutting down quote-unquote controversial content and cutting out the views on this controversial content by 70%. She's been bragging about it. We need your help more than ever in this battle for truth in information. You guys are what keeps us alive, so we really appreciate just even $1 a month makes a huge difference. If everyone could give just $1 a month, we wouldn't even have to worry about competing against the mainstream propaganda networks.
You can also donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen for you to scan if you please, as well as in the comments and description.
Liking and sharing makes a big difference as well, and finding us on alternative social media platforms like flote.app, that's FLOTE.app, makes a huge difference. We're at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Flote is replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted private messaging, and of course monetization on videos for creators, live streams with super chats in crypto, and most of all, no algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's all about reach, guys. This is all about actually reaching people with the message and waking up the public. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, all sorts of different platforms. Try to follow us on as many things as possible, because very soon this channel will very likely just be completely deleted from YouTube, and you'll never see us again, and you'll be stuck with only the mainstream networks. Also, come on out and see us at Anarcho Vegas 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada in July, where such speakers such as G. Edward Griffin and many others will be speaking. You could use promo code WHAM on your VIP tickets and save 10%, as well as buy extremely cheap tickets for just $20.20. You won't find a cheaper conference than this with such amazing names. Check anarchovegas.com for more information on that. We hope to see you out there. And anyway, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. You make it possible for us to survive in this volatile, propagandized climate. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.